form data are basically those information that are sent directly from an HTML file, right? So these are information that are sent directly from HTML input fields directly to our endpoint. And this kind of information, we handle them differently compared to what we've been doing in our previous classes. Now, what we've been doing in our previous classes is we basically send JSON format. Okay, we basically send JSON format, and we make use of the body parameter to be able to accept those information and process them as we see fit. But given having form data, we cannot actually access that information the way we usually do using the body object from Fast API. So to actually handle form data, we make use of project folder is in my desktop. So I'll get to my desktop and then project one. So we open this up using my command prompt. Now cd into command to that. I'll change directory into that folder. Turn on my environment. So all this process we are already familiar with it. And then change directory to the main folder and open it up with VS Code. Right, so this was where we left off in our last class. So as usual, we still continue from this file and we keep writing and writing and writing till we get to a point where we have to separate where we have to separate this code and put them in multiple files. And we'll see how we can handle that. But for now, we keep writing it on this particular file. So quickly, I'll open up my Postman as well. And while that is coming up, I'll run our development server using the UVCon model, UVCon, and then followed by the file and the instance of fast API -- reload. Oh, sorry, the reload is spelled wrongly, so this should be reload. Okay. Right, so let's see how we can actually handle this kind of data. Okay, so initially, if we have, so I'll just copy this and then I'll just paste it down here. So initially, if we have a route, okay, let's say user profile, okay, let's assume that we have this route. So I'll take off the HTTP code and this is now our sign up model. So initially, what we would do, we would actually to actually um, accommodate request data, we would usually make use of the body parameter, just like this, right? We will, or we would actually create what a model just like this and expect such information, which is what we actually had here. So if I put this back and then we try to access this route. So let's put this one more time. Let's see. I'll go to my so I'll copy this URL there and update it here. And the route is update user profile. So we send a post request to this. We will send a post request to that. And then if we try to actually send a post request, we will get an error saying that this man is actually expecting a body parameter, right? So it's expecting you to do what to send certain information via the body section. And usually we come to raw and then we do what we send our usual JSON information, which is in this case we will do this, all right, initially, and this will still work. And then we have to send in password, username, and full name. So if I send in the full name here could be Savior Basi, and we send the username. The username here would be the sample user, right? Sample underscore user, and then the password here would be 12345. Assume. Then when we forward this, then that actually went through, right? But at times the client may not actually send information as a JSON standard, right? They may actually send it as a form data, right? Meaning that they fetch this field from the HTML field and then send it directly to your endpoint. And if that's the case, then when we try to actually do this again, if we because this is actually where we will actually send a form data. So in your body section, you choose form data. Now, if you try to send in the same information again through form data, then you see that this will not actually work, right? We won't be able to actually get the necessary information. So I will clean this off, and then we'll send it as form data. So we come here and then we put username, and I'll put in let's say sample user again. Sample user, and then we put in our password. And the password we insert 12345, and then we put in our full name, and then we put into Savior password. So this is actually assumed to be form data, right? So this is where you can actually send in form data with Postman. Okay, this way we can send in form data with Postman, and this represents information from HTML input fields. Okay, now if we fire this information back to our in was supposed to come as a dictionary. Okay, so what happened here is that the form data first API was unable to do what to extract the necessary information. So as such, we cannot handle this information that way. So to handle form data, we simply import the form object, similar to how we would actually handle the query and path and body parameters. So I'll simply import the form, and form can be imported from Fast API as well. So in this case, I will go back, and then I will have to import form. So we use form to actually handle form data, right? Data that have been sent directly from HTML fields. So we import our form there, and then down here we have to specify each expected fields that we want. Okay, so assuming we are still expecting the username, password, and field name, sorry, and full name from the form data, then what we will do is we come here to our route function, and then we specify those variables for each of those fields. Now those variables must match those fields name. It simply means that when you're trying to send in this information, all right, their name attributes for their fields should match the variable that we are actually specifying here. So if we specify username, and then we can also specify password, and then we also need the full underscore name. Now we also know that if we leave this like this, of course, this will be query parameters. So in that case, we can simply come here and then we say that this should be a form object, all right? But then we also need to specify the attributes of, the data type of this specific field. Are we expecting a string? Are we expecting an integer for that field? So that's where we have to bring back our annotated as usual. So we bring it down here, and here we put our set, and then we wrap it up. So remember, this takes a minimum of 2 required arguments, and the first one must be the type. So in this case, we are expecting string, and this should also be a form object. And this to come from a form data. So same thing will be applicable to all of them. So we call and we give it to full name as well. And we can return either a JSON response like this, or just simply just respond. In this case, I want to send back our username alongside every other thing that has been sent. So we do that, and then we need our password, which in this case is not appropriate to send back the password. So we could send back every other thing except the password. But for demonstration's sake, I will send it back again. So put that with this. And then we head over to our postman. And then when we fire this request again, this should actually go through. So by sending this again, it says that username is missing. So let's confirm that our server has refreshed. So it just finished refreshing. So let's send it again. And then everything went as expected. So when expecting information from form, right, we make use of form object, similar to how we make use of the query object and the path object and the body object. So there's also form objects that handle data that are being sent from form, right? Form data, HTML forms. Question. Then for the extra validation, we can as well pass in those extra validation within this form object, like let's say the max length and the rest of them. Okay. And that validation carried out automatically. Is that okay? Sure. No question. All right. So the silence means no question. Fantastic. Okay. Moving forward, in the absence of question. So far we've been handling string and integer kind of data. All right. So what if someone wanted to upload their files? Say profile picture, right? Say profile picture. How would we handle that? How will we handle that? So it's similar to what we've just done, right? Except that when except that when the user actually submits file is actually sent in the request of file directory, right? Not in the request of post directory. Okay, so the way we handle file in fast API is quite different from how we would handle the usual string and numeric information. So to handle file in fast API, similar to form, all we have to do is to import the upload file object. So we have to import the upload file object and that is the object that is responsible for acquiring your file submission, right? So I am assuming we also wanted to update profile picture. So I will copy this and I'll just paste it down there. And in this route would be update profile picture. Okay. So to actually update profile picture, we make use of the upload file. So I will clean this off for now. And similar to how we've used for, we can also use upload file same way. So assuming I'm expecting a profile picture, right? And then the profile picture is not actually a string, neither is it an integer. So we could just simply put the upload file object right there. That profile picture should be a type of object of upload file, and without the parentheses, please. Without that parentheses, please take note of that the upload file does not come with parentheses. All right. So you just put the upload file there. So it means that the variable profile picture is expecting a file. Right. It could be any file. Right. But then it could be a music file, a video file, an image, but they all fall on that file. Okay. And one of the things we can do is we can actually return the file name. So I will just let us simply return the file name in this case. So whatever file we submit, I simply want to return that name. So file name is an object that works, is an attribute of the upload file. So you can just simply say file, sorry, profile picture, rather, profile picture dot. So I think once you click on the dot, you could see the attribute that comes with with um with upload file. So we have the content type, the file name, and the header, the size of the file. Okay. So in this case, we want the file name. So we will simply return the file name once this file picture has been uploaded. So let's take this out and let's see if that works. Right. So going back to our postman, I'll simply copy this URL and create a new request. So I'll paste, and the request was update picture profile picture. So let's come that profile picture, right? And then submit this. Then you will see that this will put an error saying that it's expecting the file via the body section again. That they are sending a file as JSON form, but if all right, so sorry about that. Network kicks me out again.
Yeah, before network kicked you out, your screen was lagging.
Yeah. I'm gonna share my screen soon. All right. So like I was saying, sorry, before my network kicked me out. So I was trying to say that in a situation where you are sending in file in a situation where we are sending in a file, right, and then you're sending it as a JSON format, then what you are sending is that file URL, right? But then the file upload works if this file is being obtained directly from HTML file input and then sent directly to your endpoint. Now to access that file, that's where the upload file comes in, right? So we use the upload file to actually get files that have been sent directly from input fields in HTML, right? So to actually do that, then that so we assume this to be our input field from our HTML, and then to send in file, you simply give it the file name, which in this case the file name should carry what the specified name that we provided being profile picture, and then you can send in the file. So what you want to do is that you want to select this drop down where you see the text there, and then you want to choose file. So when you click on file, you can now select the file you wish to send. So in this case, I want to send a file from my local machine here. So I'll simply just pick any of this file here, open it up, and then send the post request again. And then we can actually get the file name. So that is how you could actually handle file. And then if you want to save this file, you can proceed to saving it or working on the file as the case may be. So that is how you handle information that have been sent from HTML from HTML fields directly to your endpoint. Any question? Any question?
Was the upload file, was it important? Can you hear me, sir?
All right. So I was saying that we simply use the upload file and form to handle information coming directly from where from our HTML field, right? And then body can then handle information coming in as JSON file. So whichever way you're expecting your information, then you choose them appropriately. All right, then we choose them appropriately. And the person asked if the upload file was being imported. Yes, it was being imported in the same directory where we get our query path and the rest of them from Fact API. Is there any other question? Any other question? The silence means no other question. The silence means no other question. All right. So we already know it's usually a short session. So in the absence of question, that is where we wrap it up for today. So if I'm in next week, we should be stepping into security, okay, and dependencies, hopefully. All right. So in the absence of question, I can't hear you properly. I can't hear you properly. Okay. Well, is there a place where we can get what exactly? Sorry. I, I cannot hear you properly, Mr. Timitope. Can you just drop your question in the comment section? I think so that was better because I'm finding it difficult to hear you properly. All right, so while that is coming up in the comment section, is there any other person that has question? Okay, so no question. All right, so let's see. Okay, documentation for Fast API. Yes, Fast API has documentation. You could just simply search for Fast API documentation and you'll get it. All right, so it has okay. I would send the official documentation to our Discord group. Right, so I'll send the official documentation there.